All right, good to have you on the program. What was I going to say? Oh yeah, so everything's okay to talk about.
Everything's okay. It's pretty cut and dry with us, so it's easy.
Here's a thing that I noticed. Is this how I'm going to start off the interview? I guess it's already started, so too late. Here's the thing I noticed. I was looking up album artwork because it went from being pretty on the nose to because like I mean the grassroots artwork was like, puppeteer and like skull, and this is pretty much what I think when I think this is war. But then it started to become more abstract and subjective, which I really like.
Mhm.
But I'm gonna come back to that in a second, because that was like question 15 or something to that effect. What I
Yeah.
saw when I was looking up This Is War is two things. First of all, first question. Band is in Alberta, apparently. Is that you guys?
No,
Who is This Is War in Alberta?
I don't know, but if you look up all of our socials, it should be "This is war." Period, with period spelled out, right?
That's a hot tip. I'm gonna put that one up in the old noodle for next time. Okay. Well, which would explain the next thing that happened when I looked up This Is War, which leads to my second question. Um, how much, okay, how much mail do you get that's meant for Jared Leto? Okay. Because 30 Seconds to Mars has a This Is War song, and that's all that, oh, hey, don't look away. Look back at me. Look back here. I'm not, pu-
I got you. I got.
I'm not plugging that guy. That guy, to me, he's dead. Okay. He doesn't return any of my calls, nothing. Okay.
Yeah,
I got
no,
you on the line. That's what's important to me.
he
Um,
doesn't return mine either, so it's fine.
Um, okay. So if you get any of his mail, I guess what I want to know is what is it? I want to know weirdest first all the way to therapist.
Well, I'm glad you asked that, Steve. Because because you know in in the beginning, when a couple years ago, when I started to do more of the social media stuff, I had to clarify with a lot of our posts with a hashtag of "We are not 30 seconds to Mars." Now, I'm glad because if you look back, that's true. Because first couple pictures were like, "Where's Jared Leto? Why isn't he in the studio with you guys?" It's like we're not 30 seconds to Mars. So I had to make the clarification. There was some fan mail. I think from normal was there was probably about three letters, but there was one extreme one which was just graphic. It was like Pollyanna level of graphic. So I don't want to repeat it.
I
How
mean,
crazy it was, like swim fan kind of thing.
okay. Um,
So
so
I dodged it.
the lesson we need to walk away with is period at the end of This Is War,
Yeah,
and for our for our UK readers, full stop. Okay, great.
full stop. Yeah.
All right, so I've seen that the artwork has changed significantly. I also think the sound in the music has changed significantly from AKE to We Who Add. Is it
Yeah.
We
Yeah.
Who Add?
It's we who add. Yeah.
Okay, great. Tell me about the artwork because it's fascinating. Is it in-house?
Okay. Well,
Is it shopped out?
no, it's when it comes to the artwork, that's left to when it came to well, Hate was the first one, which is all Scott back in 2011, 2012. That was all him. Pretty much, I think 80% of the instrumentation music was Scott. Then he called in the favors from other musicians to fill in other stuff. Then skip ahead 5 years later, he did all of Ache on his own, all drums, guitars, synth, bass, guitars, vocals, and he mixed, mastered himself, kind of thing. But he sat on it with the artwork, so that's when I stepped in, and that's when we talked about, you know, uh, human condition and having the duality of the we're so evolved, but yet we still, as humans, resort to these primal instincts like going to war, because that's kind of like what the album was based off of. Massive deaths during military operations, right? Because most of the songs there are named after like Barbarossa operation, where like and the Brusilov front and all that. So like that was what we were talking about. And so the artwork that I found for that wasn't really artwork. It was more of a diagram of the poles on Earth and how they react to each other. It was like the magnetosphere. So that's kind of like having the opposite ends kind of still intertwined. That's kind of what we're going with.
All right. Let's not flip the polarity by going way too off base or anything like
I
that.
know. Yeah, yeah.
But
But
it's
at
interesting.
least with
No, no, I'm interrupting you now. That's how it's working. I'm going to talk. Well, it's interesting that you mentioned that because I really wanted to bring up AK's sound, especially Barbarossa, which I really like. I feel like if I'm going to recommend a song for people to lose their "This Is War" virginity to, their oral virginity at least, um,
yeah.
I would like to recommend that song because it comes in like a wrecking ball and I love it. Um, what's your go-to food track for people when they reach out to hear "This Is War" for the first time?
Usually it kind of that one's a great one because I've shown that I like to show that one to other musicians because I say like this is what we tend to open with because I think it's a great opener.
Agreed.
But also like
It comes in. That's it. You feel the presence and boom.
yeah, and we got three guitarists on stage and that and it just rips. So but I like showing them like the more kind of experimental stuff, maybe more like Moscow or doing stuff like Pink a Slip kind of thing.
Wait, can I get
But
since you brought up Pincus Slip, could I wait, did you tell me what so you would also tell people Barbosa.
oh oh yeah, definitely.
Okay, because you brought up Pincus Slip. So that's my favorite song to listen to, I would say.
Yeah.
So that's my favorite song to listen to. Best opening, I think, is Leviathan because it's got that really interesting electric xylophone. Is that correct? Like,
Yeah,
does
it's a synth.
fair enough.
Yeah.
Synths are awesome. And you know what? Actually, when it skipped track and it got to the end of the album, you know what the first band that came on after you guys was? It was Duran Duran. Which or no, sorry, not Duran Duran. My mistake. New Order, which is
Yeah.
awesome. I feel like that's a
Yeah.
compliment, even though it's not the same genre. I don't care. Okay, and the last I thought strongest vocals, Planets Collapse. Really good vocals.
Yeah. Yeah. You know what? The with We Who Add um going from Ache where it was all Scott, then Ache, then on We Who Add, everyone had more of a say of doing things. Like we all had more of our input onto the tracks. Like Pink a Slip was originally like a B-side from 10 years ago. And then we rehashed it and um like we just had a little more guitar in it. And what I do in that, I use a violin bow on my bass to make it sound like a cello.
Yeah, you know who else used to
So
do that?
who's that?
Certain Jimmy Page, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, Paige would do that. Jet Martin's done that, but they didn't use a bass.
That's fair enough.
Yeah, and that was kind of the trick I was doing with another song with Preacher Girl. I do that too because their songs they were just kind of barren tracks that didn't have bass on it. And Scott's like, just do what you think is right. I'm like, I'm using a fucking violin bow on this. So
Wait, okay. Did you have to buy the violin for it to come with the bow, or could you get them separately? Because
no,
that's a pretty big investment if it's somebody who doesn't play the violin.
well, luckily Christina already had like a beginner violin that we've kicked around. So I just took the bow out and just get some rosin and have at her.
Beautiful. All right.
Yeah.
let me see. So I was gonna ask about Ake and how much input you had in it, but from what you've said, like none of it is your input. Now
Yeah,
you're more of a collaborator on this new EP, and I'm wondering what are some of the challenges and the rewards from going from just playing the music live on stage to collaborating with it?
it's good to nice to be presented with something, just being like, okay, do what you think is best with it. So it allows me to kind of explore doing different tunings. I like to use pedals, and then stuff with like Pinka Slip, where I use the violin bow, and and the payoff was hearing how it had that effect when it all comes in. Because I think it gives people a whoa moment, like this is it's heavy, but it's a different heavy.
Hmm.
It just kind of lends it to have more of a depth than being
Plus,
heavy.
great for the live audience.
Yeah, yeah. And that song was tough to record because uh I kept using my bass at the time. I'd have to, and I was doing these sweeps where I had to like slide up, but I'd have to coordinate with my head to like be like, okay, I got to pull up with the bow, but don't hit any of the knobs down there. But like I was keeping on four different things, and then
Yeah, it's
it
really
was
hard when the fans get too close to the stage and you almost hit them.
yeah. That's why I have the bow.
Look out for those knobs. Get back. Get back.
Kick back.
Um,